Okay, we're at the bottom of Nun Aleph Amud Beis, and the subject is about the Simchas Beis HaSheva. The Mishnah said that they had the menorahs, big candelabras that were in the courtyard. I'm sorry, in Ezras Nashim, and it said that it was they had each menorah had 4 bowls of gold and 4 ladders per menorah, and 4 young people, Yeladim, it says youths, would climb up and put the oil in. And the Mishnah says that there was jugs of 120 lug. So to see the Gemara now, Abba Salamos. The Brisa says that the height of the menorah was 50 amos, about 25 meters. I think it's about as big as the Chorban, no? That's about 25 meters, I think so. That's the height of these menorahs. It says that these youths, they had jugs of oil that were 120 lug. Does it mean altogether was 120? Means each one was 30, because each one had they had 4 bowls per menorah, and altogether it might have been 120. That means each one was 30, or maybe it means each one had 120. Tashma will be dem kadishem shloshim lug. So the Brisa says openly that each one had 30. Altogether was 120. Each one was 30. Shem kulam me'evesim lug. Altogether 120. So each one carried 30 lug, which comes out about 10 liter. Just to get a picture of it, because lug is about a third of a liter. I think they say 0.345. So altogether was about 10 liter or so that they carried up. Tana, the Brisa says in the Brisa, they were stronger than the son of a woman, Marsa Bas Baisus. So he was a Kohen, and we don't know much about him, but here it is. There's a woman whose name was Marsa Bas Baisus. It doesn't say anything about, I don't think it doesn't say much about her, but it says about, I don't recall that it says anything else about her, but it says that her son was very strong. Amru, but no, they said, Marsa Bas Baisus, they said about this son, that he used to take the korban of when it was a big ox, a huge ox, and the 2 legs, he would carry them by himself up to Mizbeach, even though usually it says that ox, when they bring it onto the Mizbeach, so they cut it into pieces, and each leg was carried by 2 people. And he took 2 legs by himself. So he carried the weight, he carried how much usually 4 people would be carrying. Very strong. And also he did it, it says the size of an ox that costs 1,000 zuz. So that's a very big ox, I guess. And the fact that he was able to carry the 2 legs, and also he walked slowly. He walked. The okay means the heel next to his thumb, the toe, which means that he walked very slowly. Rashi says usually when you're carrying a big package, so you go fast in order to be able to get to your destination faster. But he was no rush. He walked slowly, and it seems that it was a covered to Hashem by showing his strength for doing the avodas Hashem. When a person has strength, if he's doing it to show his own strength, so that's a bad thing. But if he's doing it to show that he's using his strength for the honor of Hashem, so that's a good thing. And it seems that's why he did it. Someone gave me a mushal. Someone does hagba, big sefer Torah, and there's a big hagba. So if he's doing it to show his own strength, that's very bad. But if he's doing it in order to use his strength for Hashem, to open up the sefer Torah big and that, so then it could be a good thing. Like it says over here, that he used his strength for Hashem. But in this particular case, it says that it's better not to. They didn't let him do it by himself because it's better, more honor to Hashem that there's more people. So since it's supposed to be usually done, each leg was carried by 2 people, so it's better that they should do it that way instead of one person carrying what 4 people would have carried. The more people involved is more honor of Hashem. Anyway, what do you see? That he was very strong. And here it says that these children were stronger than him. So the Gemara says, why? Why do you mean that they were stronger? If you talk about the weight, the 2 legs of the big animal, they weigh more than the 30 liter, than the 30 load.
Can you put I came out a little late. Can you put the cursor where you are in the?
Yeah, one line from the bottom.
Okay, I don't see any cursor. Okay.
You don't see it? It's not noticeable? Okay, that's right here. I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong, but here's the word.
Now I see it. Thank you.
Okay, it's true that the weight of the legs of the ox, the feet of the ox, it did weigh more. But the fact that they carried it up a ladder was very steep. Over there, the Kohen the son of Marsa Bas Baisus, he went up to Kevish. The Kevish is the rim going up to the Mizbech. More or less, it was an incline, but it wasn't so steep. The word Meruba means like a quarter. What does that mean? So Rashi says that it means it was like 1 to 4. It's approximately 1 to 4. The ratio of how much it went up was every 4 amos across, one amma up. Rashi says the Mizbech was 9 ammas high, and the length of the kevish was 32. If it would have been 9 to 36, it would have been 1 to 4. So it was a little bit steeper than a ratio of 1 to 4. But here it was sulamos, and it was lucky tuba. It was very steep. So to carry up the 50 amos straight up, it doesn't say straight up. It might have been on an incline, but it was much steeper than it was to go up the kevish. So therefore, that was a big chiddush that they were able to carry up 30 lug up to the ladder of 50 amos. So they were very strong. And that was also a kavod Hashem that they used the strength to show. I guess they got the strong youth to be able to do this, to carry up the oil up to the top of the menorah. The Mishnah said that there was no chutz in Yerushalayim that was not illuminated from the light of the Simchas Beis HaSheva. That made so much light. Again, people say that there are 4 menorahs, and we didn't find the source for that. They didn't say the Mishnah. I wonder where everybody gets it from. All the pictures have 4 menorahs, and there were many of them. So if anybody finds any source that there were only 4, I would appreciate it. It says in the
Rebbe, the Ben Ish Chai has a whole piece where he gives the symbolism of it being the menorah is the Torah, and the Sephalim are the Pardes, Peshat, Revez, Sod, and then he takes apart the word Sephel and Sal. So you can ayin Ben Yoyada.
There's probably no end to what we get down onto the Gemara, but it's not something that's not to get to the Pshat. Whatever's in the Pshat.
Did he say how many were there?
Does he talk about how many there were? How many menorahs there were? The question was, everyone says there's 4, and the pictures show 4, and I don't see 4. The Mishnah says menorahs, I don't know how many there were. Tana, Isha. There was so much light that a woman would be able to select wheat by the light of the Beis HaSheva. It means it doesn't mean it was illuminated, but there was actually a lot of light, and they were able to look closely to check something. Taisus Mizani Yerushalmi asked the kasha that is Meila, that how you allowed to benefit from the light. Taisus learns that it means they didn't actually do it. It just means there was so much light. If someone would have wanted to, they could have, but of course don't, because it's Meila. That's a side point. But it was very much illuminated, the whole Yerushalayim. Chasidim Anshe Maisa, it says that they were singing cheers for Shishbochos, and also the Tanur Rabbanan. Yesh men omrim ashvi al duseinu shelo bisha ziknuseinu. Some of them would be saying, some of these Chasidim Anshe Maisa, some people would say, fortunate is our youth that didn't shame our old age. What does that mean? That they didn't do any various when they were young that would have embarrassed them in their old age. These are the people who are always good. Rashi says the word chassid, that means that they were always tzaddikim since youth, and that's they would say that blessed is our youth that didn't shame our old age. Other people would say, fortunate is our older age that it atoned for our youth because they did do Averis and then they did Tshuva. Those are the people that did Averis first and then they did Tshuva. Everybody said, fortunate is the person who didn't sin, and if somebody did sin, so he should repent, and Hashem will forgive him. What does it have to do with Simchas Beis HaSheva? I don't know what it has to do with Simchas Beis HaSheva.
It's here because there's first day slichas. So
okay, it works with us. So it's first day slichas, and also it's right after Yom Kippur. But it doesn't seem superficially to have anything to do with the subject of Simchas Beis HaSheva. I'm sure it needs an explanation. I don't know what it is. Rashi says on this that this is the Shir Shishbochos that it says in the Mishnah. That's a chiddush because in the Mishnah this doesn't seem to be praising Hashem. This means to be fortunate and happy, and person should do tshuva, encouraging to do tshuva. It doesn't sound like Shir Shishbochos. But Rashi does say this is the Shir Shishbochos that the Mishnah is referring to. This is what they said. They thanked Hashem for their lot. Either they thanked Hashem.
We're talking about sukkahs, not about.
Yes.
So there is simple. Why is the question?
The question was, what does it have to do with Simchas Beis HaSheva? What does it have to do with the fact that they didn't do Averis and they got tshuva? What is that the subject of Simchas Beis HaSheva?
Special people, you mean the Anshe?
Both of them, Chasidim, Anshe Maisa. What are they talking about that they didn't do Averis? What does it have to do with the issue of Simchas Beis HaSheva?
That's simple because they're clean of Averis. I don't know. They've done their avodah.
I wouldn't have thought.
You're supposed to look up to the great people.
Yes, but that's not to do with it. That doesn't seem to be the issue of Simchas Beis HaSheva. It needs an explanation why it comes in over there. Okay, the
person has fixed himself.
Okay, if you're happy with that, that's good. If you're good, okay. Tanya, Amr Hillel Zakin, Shay Samach V'Simchas Beis HaSheva, Amar Kain. Hillel Zakin, he was lived in time of the Beis HaMikdash. When he was rejoicing in the Simchas Beis HaSheva, he would say the following thing. Here's where it starts. He said, he said the following thing. Imani kan, these are the words that he said. Imani kan, hakol kan. Imani kan, mi kan. Those are the words that he said. If I'm here, everything's here. If I'm not here, then who's here? So what does that mean? Rashi says that he's talking in the name of Hashem. And Hashem is saying, if I'm here, everything's going to continue like this. But if I'm not going to be here, then who's going to be here? So there's probably something deeper than this also. That's a simple pshat. And if we'll take Rashi as a simple pshat, but there's probably something much deeper. If I'm here, everything's here. Rashi says, don't. Hill was telling everybody not to sin, that the base of Mikdash shouldn't be destroyed. So everything's wonderful. So he was reminding everybody, when Hashem is here, everything's good. But if we're going to do Averis, Hashem is not going to be here. Then nothing's going to be here. That's Rashi's simple pshat. Maybe just to hold on that there should be something more deeper than this. Boy, Omer, he said something else also. Cain, he said the following thing. The next thing Phil used to say. The Malcolm, this lachar has nothing to do with the Simchas Beis HaSheva. I'm not sure. The Malcolm Shani Ohev Sham Raglai Molicho Sosi. To the place that I want, those that I love, that's the place that my feet are going to take me. What does that mean? Rashi doesn't explain. To a place that I want, that's where my feet are going to take me. Who's it referring to? Is it saying Hashem? Is it taking people? It's a good expression. I don't know. Rashi doesn't explain.
Melech went to the Beit Midrash, even when he went to do his mundane activities.
Okay. Good. Okay. Here it says, to the place that I love, that's the place that my feet are going to take me. Another thing that he said, so this is Hashem talking. Phil is talking in the name of Hashem. If you come to my house, I'll come to your house. If you don't come to my house, I'm not going to come to your house. So this seems to be that if you come to the Beis HaMikdash to serve Hashem, so then Hashem says, I'll give you bracha in your house also. If you don't come to my house, I'm not going to come to your house. Any place that Hazkir, they say, means that my name is going to be mentioned, I'm going to come to bless you. Not that I'm going to mention, but wherever the name is going to be mentioned, I'm going to come to bless you. So if you come to the Beis HaMikdash, I'm going to come to your house to bless you. So those are three things that the Gemara put down from Hillel. The first one was, if I'm here, everything's here. If I'm not here, who's here? Second thing is, at a place that I want to go, that's where my feet take me. And the third one is, if you come to my house, I'll come to your house. If you don't come to my house, I won't come to your house. And something else that Hillel used to say, and that's brought down in Pirkei Avos, so he knows this. First white line, he saw a skull that was floating on the water. He told the skull, because you drowned somebody else. That's why you were drowned. And those who drowned you will in the end be drowned also. So people understand it to mean Mida connected Mida. Of course, that Hashem is going to punish the one who is the sinner. But people also learn from here that he derived from the fact that he saw somebody was drowned. It must be because he drowned somebody else. But Rashi says not like that. Rashi says that he recognized the person. He recognized the skull. He knew who it was, a famous Ratzeach, a murderer. So he said, now that you got murdered, I see that his Mida connected Mida, and the reason why you got killed is because you killed somebody else. And those who killed you, they're also going to get killed. So just to point out the drowned, right? And just to point out that so Rashi's not saying that it was a given that anytime somebody gets punishment of some sort, that it means because he did it somebody else. Rashi says Rashi says he knew. Rashi says he knew who this was. So that's the point. Put that aside. Second white line, Amar Rabbi Yochanan.
Excuse me, before you go on, this Tanya is similar, but it's not exactly the same as what we have in Pirkei Avos.
I don't remember the word for word, but it says I'm pretty sure.
And that was in the name of somebody. I forget. Was it Hillel or Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva.
I have it right here. So where is it in Avos? 1 second. Where is it?
I don't remember the first or second parak. I would assume, but
1 second, please. Let's look it up.
Second parak.
Parak Beis Mishnah Vav. Let's see. Avos Parak Beis Mishnah Vav.
Rabbi Akiva, maybe.
Afu Golas Achas Safa Pnei Amayim. Is this here us over here? It's Safa, yeah, same word. Afu Achas word for word. Amalal that Teifta. It's full for Safa Tafai Chitufon. Word for word.
Why are we learning?
But it's in the name of Rabbi Akiva. It's in somebody's name, right?
Rabbi Yaakov, I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
It's in the name of Rabbi Akiva in the Mishnah, right?
In the Mishnah, even though it's Hillel. No, Hillel.
Oh, Hillel. Okay.
Here also. This is Hillel also.
Does it Besof in the Mishnah?
Besof Tafai Chitufon.
Does it Besof here?
Here they're saying this is a brisa.
I'm sorry?
This is a brisa.
Yes, and it's also a Mishnah. Right, that's what it says. It's a Mishnah also. So Chaim David, that's what it's doing over here. You're right. The subject is because it says before, Rashi himself was looking, Rashi says, how's it coming over here? This thing of I'm sorry. Rashi on the next Gemara. This comes in because he'll think that Hillel said. And this thing about the Golgolas doesn't have to do with the Beis HaMikdash, not similar to what I said before, but I mentioned a few things Hillel said. It says this also. And now, second one, Rabbi Yochanan, this Rashi says comes in because before it said, to the place that my feet want, that's where I go. That's Agav. This Gemara is also going to come in now. So I think Rav Yochanan, second white line, a person's feet are the guarantors for him. To the place that he's wanted, that's where they're going to take him. Means the Gemara is going to say right away a story that a person where he's wanted, his feet take him. Hashem orchestrates that he should go to the place they're supposed to be. The Gemara is going to bring a story about two people that they had to die in a certain place, and Hashem orchestrated that they should get to that place. And here's the Gemara.
What's the davar? Davar?
Bar inish. Ragloi de bar inish. A bar inish. A ben adam. Raglayim shel ben adam. Heim avam bo lamakom. Shem mitvakesh. Sham molichim osa. That was the Hebrew for the translation of the Aramaic. Hanu, third line. Hanu tati kushai. There were two blacks. So Rashi says that they really were not black. They were beautiful, and it calls them, as a euphemism, it calls them blacks to say how beautiful they were. That's by Tzipora, and also says it by Shol, Kish Ben Yamini. I don't know how Rashi knows it over here. Why does Rashi say that? Maybe here means two blacks. I don't know how Rashi knows that here means that they were so beautiful, and it calls them blacks as a euphemism. I don't know. But anyway, there were two blacks, Kushim. They were, yes, but it doesn't say, I don't know why Rashi just stayed over here. They were Ramashah says something if you want to see. They were Shlomo. They were in front of Shlomo. Shlomo had two of his servants were these two kushim, Elichoref, Vachia, Bnei Shisha. So from the Shlomo Havu, that's a pasuk that it says Elichoref. It says the names in the pasuk. Elichoref and Achia, the sons of Shisha, they were the scribes of Shlomo. Yom Echad Chazi L'Malach HaMav B'Sdei B'Katzav. One day Shlomo Melech saw the angel of death that was said. Amalei Amayasiv. That's why he said. Amalei Dekabo Minoi Hani Tati Kushay B'Yasvi Hacha. Because they asking me, like I have a mission to take the lives of these two kushim that are sitting over here. So Shlomo wanted to protect them. Masrinu L'Sirim, he gave them over to the Shedim. Shlomo Melech was in charge of the Shedim. Like Rashi brings down that he was a king even over the Shedim. Shadrinu L'Mechuzah L'Luz. He sent them to the city of Luz. Rashi brings down from Gemara that Luz was a place where nobody died. So he thought that he's going to be able to protect them to get them into Luz, and then they say from the Malach HaMavis. When they came there, before they entered, they died. They died by the entrance of Luz. The next day, Shlomo Melech saw the angel of death was happy. Why are you happy for? I needed them over there, and that's why I was saying, because I wasn't able to kill them, because I had to get them. How am I going to get them to go to the Shar of Luz? And you sent them to the place that I needed. So Shlomo Melech realized that you can't outsmart whatever Hashem says is going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Shlomo Melech said, based on this, he said the feet of a person are his guarantors to the place that he's wanted. That's where they're going to take him. So a person is supposed to be in a certain place. Hashem will orchestrate that his feet will take him there. Even though he thinks he's going there in order to do the opposite of the decree, it's going to happen to the decree. Tanya, that goes back. That was a side point that came in. Rashi says because of the story, because of the statement before of Hillel, that a person's feet take him to where he wants to go. But here it says where he wants to go, where he's supposed to go, not where he wants to go. He thinks he's going where he wants to go. Really, he's going where he's supposed to go. Tanya, now we go back to Simchas Beis HaSheva. Tanya, Amru Allah Bal Shimon and Gamliel, Kishay Sameach for Simchas Beis HaSheva, Yenotel Shmon Avucha Shel Or, V'Zorek Achas V'Notel Achas V'No Gezu Bezu. When he would rejoice in the Simchas Beis HaSheva, he would take eight torches and he would throw them and catch them, and they wouldn't touch each other. Juggle 8 torches. Rashi says this is the Pshat the Mishnah when it says that the Chassid Man Shemaisa, they had a Vukashal Orbi Yedayan. Rashi says all of them were juggling. In the Pashup Pshat, I might just suggest, in the Pashup Pshat, you don't see that. In the Pashup means most people, they were just holding onto the torches, the Chassidim, and Shemaisa, and they were dancing with the torches. Not that they were all mumchim to not juggle. But Rashi says that this was Shem Gamliel. The Gemara does say there were some people, Shem Gamliel. But Rashi says that it's going on the whole Mishnah. Everybody, some did 4, some did 8. But the whole thing was juggling. I'm sure there's something over there.
It's crazy. I don't think anybody in this world is doing 8. I don't know. Have you heard any more than you heard people do juggle 8?
I imagine they can.
Not you. I'm not obviously not you or me. But
If you go to see jugglers, they can do 8.
you've seen that?
So Reb Shimon Gamliel, what's the issue over here? Why did he do it? There must be a reason why after juggling fire. I don't know what it is. He just pointed out also that the Mishnah has a whole issue about the fire, about the menorahs, big menorahs, and the fire. So I don't know what it is. This Simchas Beis HaSheva, Shavta Mayim B'Sasam. The issue was about the water going, but something about the fire also. Just a small point, just to throw out that it says by Har Sinai also there was Anan and Eish, that there was fire, and also the Anan, which represents Mayim. So it could be there's something about fire and water over here, which I don't know. I'm just pointing out that it sounds there was something about the fire over here.
Rabbi, we do know that Sukkot is Avita Machsameh. So, I mean.
Yeah, but I don't think it's just kind of a simcha. I think there's something more inherent over here. I don't know what it is, but I guess my impression is that it's something that he meant. There's something you find Kabbalistic, maybe what he was doing over here. What's fire, what's water, what's the juggling, what's the eight, what is all that about? I don't know.
But you understand stuff.
Okay.
I-
He said-
I- when I learned-
Ukshum mishtachve. There's more things about the Rishim Gamliel. Ukshum mishtachve no itchnei go the baritz v'shochav no shekasavitz was okay. When he would bow, prostrate himself, he would thrust his two thumbs into the ground and he would lower himself and kiss the floor and get up again. Nobody is able to do that. It's not a normal thing. It's very hard to do that. So he's not putting any pressure. He's not using his legs or his rest of his hands in order to support himself, only his thumbs. And he's not kneeling first in order to get to the floor. He's just gonna bow to get his to kiss the ground.
I
Rashi
do
says,
have we have a visual aid here.
okay.
Should be 21.
Oh,
Just to show, this is the picture you showed us by Yom Kippur. It says in the Yuma over there, it says that the Kohen Gadol, when he was tired at night, so they said, "Tafegachas ala Vispa," and the Gemara over there says, "Achvi Kida." It means this Gemara over here to show to do Kida. That's the Gemara in Yuma. And here the other Kohanim that are looking aside. Here it's also they're saying of Shimon ben Gamliel would do it also. So he's just on his thumbs. If you look closely, you'll see only his thumbs, and that's I guess
They're not so happy that she'll be, but it'll be more into. Oh, there you go.
he wasn't doing it for simcha. Probably was doing it as a way of ishtachavoya.
Oh, really?
Okay, that's what it says over there. Ishtachavoya. Yes, thank you.
And I have there's also a picture of the
I don't
different
think
kinds of.
I don't think. No, it says the midaf in the ground. It probably means that was what he was supporting himself. Yes, Levi Yaakov?
I had a picture here of just a minute of the different kinds of kneeling. I don't know. Did we get to that yet? Would that help?
Different kinds of what? It's a very not so loud. And different kinds of what?
Of kneeling and bowing.
That's all Al Gemara is going to say. I don't think the rest of it is going to be relevant to Al Gemara.
Okay, so here are the
That's
four,
not
four different terms.
No, it's not an Al Gemara. Okay,
This is not an Agamora?
not relevant. These are not relevant.
What's
Sorry?
Noe?
No, it's just a thrust. I'm not sure what he needs to say over here. Okay. Just to lower himself. Like Mishtachaveh.
Oh, that's the root of
The word of Shach. Shin Ches means to lower oneself.
Right.
The Zui Kida, that's what Kida is. Now it says Vayikod a lot of times. I don't think whenever it says Vayikod, it doesn't always mean this fancy kind of prostrating, but it means usually when you do Kida, you do also Kriya and then Kida. You kneel on your knees and then you do your face to the ground. If it just says face to the ground without kneeling first, that's going to be this fancy Kida that it says over here. They want to say as a side point, Levi, Achvi Kida become a Rebbe Vitla. Levi one time showed Kida, where Achvi showed. He showed Kida before Rebbe and he became lame from it. Because Rashi says when he's doing this, he's putting all of his pressure on his loins, and therefore that's where he was affected and he became lame. Is this what caused him to become lame because he did this? It says a person should not shoot words. The word yatech is to shoot. A person should not shoot words towards Hashem, like to say something with chutzpah, because it was a great person who did that, and he became lame. Agamor doesn't say what he said. Rashi brings down the Gemara that he said, like you complained to Hashem that you went up to Shemaim and you don't take care of your children. And that was considered, he was kind of a tefillah, but he did it in a chutzpah way, and because of that he became lame. So why he's saying the reason he became lame is because he did the Kida. The reason he became lame is because he did this Avera of speaking the wrong way to Hashem. It more answers both of them caused it. Rashi says the Avera was because he spoke that way. And then, like it says that that a person, when he has a cheshbon, when it comes to Shasakana, then there's going to be the record is taken out. So because he did that, so when he put himself in the Shasakana to do Kida, that's when he became lame.
I'm confused with what's going on with Rebbe.
Levi showed it in front of Rebbe, and that's when he became lame. That's all it says.
That seems to be irrelevant to the reasons. The reason is because he spoke.
No, this was the danger. He did a dangerous thing. He was in a state of danger. The fact that he was punished at that point was because he had done something wrong by speaking to Hashem not properly. And even though you might think it's a way of tefillah, but you have to know the limits. You have to know when to speak and not to speak. So that's it. You shouldn't do it because he did that he spoke that way. So when it came to Shasakana, like Kir Note, like when a person goes in a dangerous place, and then as Kir Navanosov, so that's why he was punished at this time. If he wouldn't have been Aveirat, maybe he wouldn't have been punished, even if he did a dangerous move. But not necessarily would he become lame. But since it was that Aveira on his record, so when he put himself in a dangerous position, he became lame.
And basically, Rabbi was a witness to see what this action happening in front of him.
Well, that doesn't show anything. If it would have been
I
out in
don't
front of
know
Rebbe
why
either.
it's relevant to the reason.
No, it just says why he was doing it. He was doing it in order to show Rebbe. He was doing it in order to show Rebbe. That's why doesn't.
On the other hand, he was praying in a way that wasn't fitting.
He was what?
He was praying in a way that wasn't fitting.
Not together. It wasn't the same time. Two different things. It happened a month earlier, a year earlier. That he.
He had already done that.
Yeah. Like it happens always like that. A person. When a person is crossing the train tracks, not they did a very that. He's in a bit.
So if it's error that happens to a person, doesn't necessarily happen because it's something that they right now.
Yeah, for sure. It could be years before. Yeah. The more continues. Levi Avamatayel Kamei the Rebbe Bitmani Sakini. This is a different thing. Also in front of Rebbe, Levi was showing the word Matayel is some kind of, you could say, he said sometimes means to relax. It's here it means that Rashi says like he was showing some kind of a simcha in front of Rebbe. Rashi says, why is Levi trying to make Rebbe happy? Rashi says Rebbe was always concerned about Am Yisrael and he was always heavy and he wanted to rejoice him a little bit. So what did he do? He juggled with 8 knives, with 20 sakini. Levi juggled with 8 knives. Shmuel kamed the Shmuel Malka b'tmanya mizgi chamra, and Shmuel was juggling in front of the Persian king. So this doesn't say why he was doing it. Could be also a reason, I don't know. But it says here that Shmuel did it in front of King Shibur. That's his name, Shavor, and the Persian king with 8. Rashi learns it means 8 cups of wine. Rashi says that he juggled 8 cups of wine and it didn't spill. Without Rashi, I would have thought that just 8 cups alone is already the chiddush, 8 glass cups. But 8 cups of wine and it didn't spill, that sounds like miraculous. Not only a good juggler, that sounds like supernatural. But that's what Rashi learns. Abai kamei the Rabba b'Tmanya Bey. Abai juggled in front of Rabba with 8 eggs. Amila b'Ababe. Some say 4 eggs. So it brought about the torches in our Mishnah, Rav Shimon Gamliel. Then it says about knives. Then it says about cups of wine. Then it says about eggs. Different people, different thing about juggling. I don't know what it is. And probably all of them have something to do with some secret over here that I don't, esoteric. I don't know what it is.
Rebbe, there's a clear Peshat in Drush, in the Anaf Yosef, in the Ein Yankov. It's the Shmona Chelkei Torah, and they were all showing that in different Ofanim, they could learn them and separate them and also bring them out. But the Shmona Chelkei Torah are, I'll show you because he says that. It's from Chagiga, Yud Dalet Amud Aleph, Mikra, Mishnah, Talmud, Agada, Shmuas, which is Shema, Halakos, Pesukos, Mirabosav, and then the last 3 are Melchemta Shel Torah, Maisa Breshis, and Maisa Merkava.
Yeshikov. Okay. The Gemara continues. Top line. During Simchas Beis HaSheva, which was for those days, the Cholamoid, Chamisha V'Shisha, sometimes 5, sometimes 6, we didn't see sleep. It's not Docha Shabbos and Yantif, but in the Cholamoid days, so we didn't see sleep. Ketzad, Shom, Misham L'Tamish HaShachar, Misham L'Tfila, Misham L'Kavan Musaf, Misham L'Tfila Sam Musafin, Misham L'Beis HaMedrash, Misham L'Chil L'Shtiyah, Misham L'Tfila Samincha, Misham Tamish L'Bein HaBayim, Mikan Veilach, the Simchas Beis HaSheva. No time to sleep. In the morning, the first thing was Tamish HaShachar, the Korban Tamid, and then davening. You see the davened also, even after Korban, he davened also. And then to the Korban Musaf, because it was Chol HaMoed, and then to the Tfilas HaMusaf, and again, the Korban Musaf and Tfilas Musaf. And then Beis HaMedrash, no time to sleep, you got to go learn. And then Achil Shtiyah, then they celebrated eating and drinking every day of Chol HaMoed, and then Tfilas HaMincha, and then Tamish HaBein HaBayim, the other gear says maybe over here, first Tamish HaBayim, then Mincha, whatever the order might be, and then Simchas Beis HaSheva the whole night. So we didn't have the problem. Usually we'd go to sleep instead of learning, but they had to learn, so they have no time to sleep. So that's what it says. This was the Seder. It says everybody. It's everybody. Shem Machanani happened to be a Levi, but that's not the point. The point is that everybody, Simchas Beis HaSheva, they went to Simchas Beis HaSheva the whole night, and therefore no time to sleep. The Gemara says, how can you not sleep for 7 days? If someone made an oath that he's not going to sleep for 3 days, it's impossible. So he's going to definitely make a false shvuah. You don't wait for the 3 days. Right away, give him malchus and tell him go to sleep, because it was the shvuah shav that you can't do such a thing. So how could he say he didn't sleep for 7 days? And luckily come on. We didn't taste sleep. It means we didn't have a geshmak of sleep. We didn't go to sleep. That when they would dremel on each other's shoulders. During the day, sometimes they would fall asleep, but not that they would go to sleep. They didn't go to bed for 7 days. That's what it means. Were they out of the sukkah? Are you allowed to dremel out of the sukkah? You're not allowed to dremel out of the sukkah. So probably I'm imagining that it doesn't mean out of the sukkah. It means when they were eating or something, to them they also fell asleep on each other's shoulders.
It wasn't a kavir suit.
And it's not so that and you're not allowed to sleep right out of the sukkah either. No, no.
Yeah, but he wasn't even aware that he was.
How do you know?
Then it's not a sewer. I'm saying it's a sewer if he says I'm gonna take a little nap.
If he's gonna go on his friend's shoulder, if he puts his head down on his, that's also going to sleep.
People fall asleep unconsciously.
So you're not- so that's
or not conscious.
okay.
I mean,
So you might say that. What?
Menami is rest.
Menami is like a doze off. Menami is like a
I mean,
doze.
in the base midrash. It happens to me all the time. Yeah, other people.
Okay.
You know.
But you can't put your head down. You can't put your head down. If a person falls asleep while he's up, okay, that's one thing. But if he puts his head down, he's just going to sleep. So I'm suggesting that they did this in the sukkah. Maybe in the sukkah. Doesn't mean that it's Beis Sheva. That wasn't. Maybe it was in the sukkah while they were eating. So they jumbled off a little bit. The Mars are saying we didn't go to sleep. We didn't go to bed. I'm suggesting. I don't know. Chamesh Esrei Malos. There were 15 steps that they did this. The Levim said the Shira said the song. Beis Sheva on the 15 steps that went down from Israel. This was mentioned. Amalei of Chisda Lahud one that became Masada Agadata Kameh. Chisda said to a Talmud Chacham who was arranging, organizing Agadata. Somebody who knew Agadata, and he asked, if Chisda asked this person who knows Agadata, he asked him the following question: Amalei Shmiel Lachani Chamesh Esrei Malos Keneged Miyam David. Do you have any pshat? Did you ever hear how come David said 15 Shara Malos? Means the Mishnah says that the 15 steps were corresponding to the 15 Shara Malos of David. But why did David make 15 Shara Malos? Why did David write and deal 15 Shara Malos? What's it all about? What's the 15 Shara Malos all about? Amalei Hachi Amar Rabbi Yochanan. So he did hear something. He said, named Rabbi Yochanan, the Shashikar David Shitin, Kafa Toma, or Boy the Mishtafa Amma, when David out the Shitin. So Rashi has a problem. David cut out the Shitin. We had before that it was from Ma'aseh Bereshis. Hashem did it. So that Rashi has two pshat. The this Gemara was arguing, and now it wasn't from Ma'aseh Bereshis. David cut it, dug it out, or he says that it got filled up with earth over the years, and then David was digging it out. The word kafa, Rashi said before that it means floating. Where did Rashi say that? Rashi didn't say it yet. Maybe here he says it. Kafa means to float. It's the Aramaic for the word tzaf. By Yitzhak Bazel, but Kafa Prazala. Rashi brings always the pasuk. Yes, that tape. Oh, it said tzaf al pnei hamayim. Over there, it just said tzaf al pnei hamayim. It didn't say kaf. But Rashi brings down that the word kaf means, in Aramaic, it means to float. So here it says that the home started overflowing. Oboila Mishfalma was going to flood the whole world. He hit the home, and the home started coming out, the underground waters, and it was going to overflow the world. So David said the 15 shamalos in order to bring the water down. But Rav asked him, that's the pshat. The word malo means to go up. Ole. He should have said 15 yordos to go down. You have to get the water down. So Amalei, here Rashi says it means Rav Chisda said, not the person who was saying the Garata. Rav Chisda said, now I remember. All about Karata, Nachi Etmar. That once you reminded me, this is how we learn. When David was digging out the Shitin so that the home started overflowing, as you said, but David didn't say Shem Alos. Does anybody know if it's mutter to write the name of Hashem on a piece of cheres, on a shard, in order to throw a chaspa? Chaspa means cheres. And then throw it into the Tehom, that it should stop. Means that he wanted to write the Shem Hashem. He knew that if you write the Shem Hashem and put it into the Tehom, it's going to stop it. But he didn't know if he's allowed to do it because it's going to get erased. So he asked, does anybody know if he's allowed to do that? Like at the Kamalei meeting. Nobody answered him. But David knew that Achitophel would know. Achitophel was there, very smart. But David said, Rashi even says the reason why David didn't, David might have known himself the answer, but he didn't want to do it because Achitophel was David's Rebbe, so he didn't want to pass in front of him. But Achitophel didn't say anything. David called Yada Lamema, David said, whoever knows and doesn't say should be strangulated. He should choke. At the end, just to point out that Achitophel did at the end, at the end of his life, he strangled himself.
He did know the chat.
He knew. So now he said that David forced Achitophel to say. Unless Achitophel called B'chom
Why do you want to say it though?
Achitophel, why did Achitophel not want to say? I don't know. But here it says that after David forced him into it, so Achitophel said he made a couple chomer. He didn't have him so, but he made a couple chomer. The Torah says that you're allowed to erase Hashem's name in order to permit a sota to be with her husband. Once a woman was warned and she anyway secluded with a man, she's also to have relations with her husband until she's proven innocent with the Maimon. Over there, they erased Hashem's name into the water, and then after she drinks it and she's healthy, that means that she's proven innocent. So Hashem agreed that his name should be erased in order to make peace between husband and wife. So Kal V'chomer, to save the whole world, we got to do it. So he said it's mutter. Amalei Shori. So Achitophel said it's mutter to throw Rav Hashem's name and throw it into the home. So David wrote the name of Hashem on a piece of cheres. Chaspa is cheres, and he threw it into the Tehom. And Nachas Tehom Mashitz Alfi Gamid. And it went down 16,000 amos. The Tehom receded. Is that the word? Receded 16,000 amos.
Why didn't we learn this as a raya for the Shitan that was down to the town? That's your right.
So some say that it wasn't. You're right. Some are going to say all this. Someone can argue and say it didn't go to the Tehom. It was only a room. It was an underground cave. But David said when it went down so low, it went down too low. He said that the higher that it is, the world is going to be more moist. The word Ratuv will be more moisture. You do need moisture. We need the water. So he said, so then he said the 15 Shia Malos not to take it down, to bring it up again. It went down because of the name of Hashem. And he brought it up 15 levels, 15,000 amos because of the 15 Shia Malos. And right now, the home is 1,000 amos beneath the ground level. From here we see that the thickness of the earth means till the home is 1,000 amos. The Marsakasha, we see we dig a little bit, much less, and we get water right away. While Chazin the Kamin and Port of Anafkimai, we see we dig a little bit and water comes out. Did we not meet the home? No, it's not the home. Ahum is the pros. So the word pros is the Euphrates River, and there's some kind of water channels, underground water channels that take the water from the pros. And Rashi says that whatever level the pros is very high, that's much higher, and then the water underground will come again to the same level, like the water table, whatever that law of physics is, that it comes up to the same level again. So that's where the water we're getting is not the Tehom water, it's the pros water from the Euphrates water. But the Tehom is much deeper, it's 1,000 amos beneath the ground level.
What's Soma?
Soma, the word means like a ladder. Rashi makes it sound like underground. I'm not sure what the word is exactly, but it means Soma that saw something, the pros. Rashi says that it's some kind of underground water channels. Is Rashi over here? Where's Rashi? Ma'alos. Hasuyos kimachilos. It's some kind of levels that are made in a cave. That the process was done underground is much higher than everything else, and the water goes up to the same level that it originated from.
Like diffusion.
What's that the word? There's a word like that. And if you have a pipe of water, so it'll come up to the same level again. I'm not sure what that's called in Hebrew. I've been listening. Once told us shlivot something.
Kelim shluvim.
Kelim shluvim. Okay, but I don't know in English. We still didn't find out what it is in English. Okay, the first wide line. The Kohanim over there says that the Kohanim, when it came the rooster crow, so the two Kohanim on top level, they did Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah, then they went down to the 10th step, and again Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah, and down the ground level again, right, there's a snashim Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah. What does it mean the 10th step? Does it mean 10 steps down and they're 5 from the ground? Down 5 down and they're on 10 from the ground, or they go down 10 and they're 5 from the ground? Teku. What does it mean the 10th step? 10th step from the top or 10th step from the bottom? Some say that the Gemara says he doesn't know. Just to point out that the 15 to divide the 10 and 5 is going to be Yud K. That it could be, there's a big issue over here about 10 and 5. There are many things brought down about the 15. Yud K has something to do also with Ezra Yisrael, Ezra Nashim. There's a whole issue about Yud and Hey. Has something to do with Kabbalah. But it's interesting that the Gemara says 15, and it says it's the division of 10 and 5. We don't know how it was. Was it 5 and 10 or 10 and 5? Tana Rabbanan. So it says in the Mishnah that they went down the steps and then they continued going till the eastern gate. Then they turned around about face and they faced the Beis Hamikdash, and they said our forefathers in times of the Orban Beis Rishon, they were backs with the Beis Hamikdash, but we are facing Hashem. So the pasuk in Yechezkel over there where it says that these Rishonim, they were facing the east, and then it says they were bowing down to the sun, and their backs were to the Heichal. So if it says they were towards the east, their face was towards the east, we know that the backs were to the Heichal. We know that if they're on the east of the Beis Hamikdash and facing the east, their backs were to the Heichal. Why does it say that? Why does it say that their backs were towards the Heichal? That they defecated towards the Beis Hamikdash. They're mamish rishon, and that's why it emphasizes their backs to say they wanted their backs towards the Heichal, not incidentally, their backs were towards the Echel. They dafka wanted their backs to be towards the Echel, and that's the big resha that they did, that they deprecated towards the Beis HaMikdash. And we say we're not like that. We turn around back to the Beis HaMikdash and we say Anu L'Ka. And Rabbi Yehuda says they used to say double Anu L'Ka L'Kainenu. The Master Kasha, how could you say Anu L'Ka L'Kainenu? We are to Hashem, and to Hashem are our eyes. It seems to be repetitious. Aini, is that so? He says you're not allowed to say 2 times some kind of a declaration towards Hashem because it sounds like Shtei Reshivos. It sounds like you're talking to 2 different authorities. So you're not supposed to say Modim, the Mishaskin also, and also you're not supposed to say Shema. You're not supposed to say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad 2 times. And here to say Anu L'Ka L'Kainenu also sounds like you're saying 2 times. The same thing. Hachi Gamri. Hema Meshachbim Kedma, Anu L'Ka, Mishtachavim, put in the word Mishtachavim, Veinenu L'Ka Miyachlos. If they would say that we're turning towards Hashem, our eyes are turning towards us, that's repeating. But they said 2 things. We bow down to Hashem, and our eyes are longing towards Hashem. It's not the same thing. You have to stick into the words when they say L'Ka Einenu. What does it mean Einenu? Our eyes. It means we're longing for Hashem. So L'Ka, Anu L'Ka means where it says here Mishtachavim or Modim. But then Einenu L'Ka Miyachlos, that's something else. I had a little kasha. I'm not sure if it's a good kasha. The way we do in the slichas, we say Anu L'Ka Veinenu L'Ka, based on this. Over there, we're not Mishtachavim. So it does sound a little bit repetitious. Maybe you shouldn't say it. Anu L'Ka Veinenu L'Ka sounds like we're saying that we're all for Hashem. Unless you say it also means that Anu L'Ka, maybe we're loyal to Hashem and we're longing for Hashem. You have to say that there's 2 different things. Well, it's a problem. You're not supposed to say 2 times the same kind of a shevach to Hashem or Shema, Modim. You shouldn't say this either.
Did you find an answer?
I didn't look into it, but I'm just saying that based on our Gemara, you might say that it means 2 different things. You might say that our eyes are longing to Hashem, and Anu L'Ka doesn't mean longing; it means something else. We're loyal to Hashem, we prostrate to Hashem, we thank Hashem, whatever. Daven to Hashem.
I see it. Anu L'Ka, and
We do. We serve Hashem. Maybe. Mishnah. You never do less than 21 every day, the whole year round. There's never less than 21 tkiyas. At this point, the Gemara is going to say that we say tkiya, true tkiya is counts for 3. Pochsin is less, like pachot. So you never have less than 21 tkiyas in the Beis HaMikdash. Tkiya means tkiya, true tkiya. They're all called the tkiya. So tkiya, true tkiya, we call 3. So you never have less than 21 in the Beis HaMikdash, even on the whole year round. Then Mosifin al Abba Mishmona, and the maximum you have the whole year is 48. And it's going to come out on Sukkot. That's why we're going to stress about the 48 that happens on Sukkot. The Chol Yom now goes down every day. Then it's going to say later on how you have the maximum. The Chol Yom every day there was 21, as we now going to explain. When they open up the gates in the Beis HaMikdash, Rashi says it doesn't. Rashi for some reason says it doesn't mean the gate of the Beis HaMikdash itself. It means all the Azora, Shari Azora. I don't know why Rashi says that. I would have thought that Psich Shalom would mean when they open up the doors of the Beis HaMikdash. But Rashi doesn't say that. He says the gates of the Azora. So then they would do Tkiya, True Tkiya. Each Korban Tamid had 9. Rashi says there's Shir Shal Yom, that the Levium said Shir by the Korban Tamid, both in the morning and again in the afternoon. And each one is divided into 3 stanzas, I guess you call it. They divided each Shir into 3, and they did Tkiya, True Tkiya at 3 points. So that's how you get each one again another 9. So again, Psich HaShorim was in the morning Tkiya, True Tkiya, and then again by the Shir Shal Yom, but during the Korban Tamid, in the morning, they did another 3 times Tkiya, True Tkiya. That's another 9. And then again, in the Bein Arbaim, again, Tkiya, True Tkiya 3 times. So that gives altogether 21. That's the everyday 21. 3, 9, and 9. When do you have more? On a day that's Musaf. Or when Musafin, are you Musafin Otesha? On a day there's a Korban Musaf, either Shabbos or Chodesh, Yontif, you had a Musaf. So you did another 9. Because each time is a Shir. Whenever there's a Shir, so they divided into 3. And after each keta, they say they have a tkiya, true tkiya.
This is not on a regular day anymore.
Now it's not a regular day. The minimum, this is a regular day. It's Musaf, so then it's going to be 9 more. It's going to be 30. Erev Shabbos, how you go Sifin Sheish? On Erev Shabbos, every Erev Shabbos they would add on 6. How do you have 6? Shalosh lav to lasom malacha. The shalosh lav to be kodesh l'chol. 3 in order to stop people from doing work. Earlier in the day they should know to stop doing malacha, and then when it comes to Zman Mamish, when it comes to Shabbos, they then do again tkiya, true tkiya. That everyone should stop doing work. They should know. I mean, that's now it's Kodesh. Now it's Skila. Earlier, the earlier ones might have been earlier in the day in order to stop the jobs that were in their stores. I forgot over there if the Havdalah Sama Malacha was earlier in the day for the storekeepers or later. Mamish, I forgot when this was, but they did another 6 every Erev Shabbos.
27.
How do you get 27?
Instead of because there's no musaf, so it's not.
Yeah, that's true. And the day that there's no Musaf, it will be Erev Shabbos for Chodesh, you'll have both of them. You have 30 plus another 6. If it's only going to be Erev Shabbos without a Musaf, then it'll be 27. But you can have both of them together. You can have a Musaf with Erev Shabbos. Erev Shabbos Shebetoch HaChag, Yisham Abba Mishmon. The maximum is Erev Shabbos during Sukkot. Erev Shabbos during Sukkot, Sukkot gets a lot more. Sukkot gets 12 more. And then it's going to be also Erev Shabbos, then you'll have another 6. How do you have another 12 on Sukkot? So it goes through the whole thing. It's going to give it the whole 48. Shalosh Shemsicha Sharm. Like every day, you had to open up the gates of the Azorah, so you have 3. Then Shalosh Shara Elyon. This is Simchas Beis HaShoeva. So on the top, he said that when the rooster crows, you have 3. That's called Shara Elyon, the Shar Nikanor, and they did Kiyah Truot Kiyah. And then again, Shalosh Shar Tachton. When they get to the bottom, when they get to the floor, the Mishnah skips about the 10th step. Rashi says the Gemara is going to ask the kasha, but the Mishnah leaves it up. What happened to the 10th step? There's also the Kiyah Truot Kiyah. But the Gemara says the top of the steps and the bottom of the steps. Shara Elyon is 3. And also Shara Tachton, you get to the bottom. Rashi says also you get to the floor and you keep on blowing until you get to the eastern gate. So that's another 3. Shalosh Tamili Amayim, 3 when they fill the water. So this we didn't have yet, but they filled the water. That's the Bari Shiloh. So does it say any place that they did Kiyah Truot Kiyah? The first time we're meeting it over there, the curtains closed when it says when they got to the eastern gate, they turned around. That's the end of the mission. It doesn't say what they happened the word further. Here it seems to say that they also did Kiyah Truot Kiyah when they filled up the water. The Rashi says it doesn't mean that. Rashi says it means when they came back. By the filling of the water itself, it doesn't say that they did Kiyah Truot Kiyah. Neither my Rashi says means when they came back and they come in through the Shar Mayim. That's what the Mishnah said earlier. When they come into Shar Mayim on the southern side of the Beis Hamikdash, so then they did Kiyah Truot Kiyah. So Rashi says that's what it means. It doesn't mean the actual filling of the water, but it means when they came back to the gate that's called Shar Mayim in order to do the Nisach HaMayim. And then Shalosh Gabi HaMizbech. This doesn't say what it means. 3 on the Mizbech. Rashi says it means. Rashi has one shot over here. Later on, say another shot. He says that it means when they did Arava. Zikifas Arava, when they was Zokif Arava on the sides of the Mizbech, those tall ones, 11 amos high. So also they would do Kiyah Truot Kiyah. The Mishnah said earlier, and that's what it means over here also. So altogether you had 12 more. Again, for Sukkot you had Shara Elyon, Shara Tachton. This whole line is a Sukkot line. Here you have the Shara Elyon, Shara Tachton, Mili Amayim, and Agabi HaMizbech. So you had another 12. And then continuing regular, it was also a day of Korban Tamid and Musaf. Teisha Lat Tamish Shachar, Teisha Tamish Ben Abayim. That's the regular day. And Teisha Musafin, because it was Sukkot, that a Korban Musaf also. And that's also Erev Shabbos now. Shalosh Lavda Sama Melacha, Shalosh Lavda Ben Kodesh Lachol. That's every Erev Shabbos you had 6. So altogether that was 48. That was the maximum that you could have on any given day. The most you could have is Sukkot Erev Shabbos, you had 48. We'll stop here today. And even though the war continues, but we'll stop here if it's okay. Just a chazar over what we had today. We spoke about the height of the menorah was 50 amos high, and the youths who brought up the oil, it wasn't 120 per child, it was 30, and altogether it was 120. They were very strong. Even Water Masa Basbaisis, who took the 2 Yerei Chaim of the animal up the kevesh slowly, but they were stronger, not because it was heavier, but because they went up a steep ladder to 50 amos, and he went up to kevesh, which was more or less a ratio of 1 to 4. It wasn't so steep. The Chatzeres of Yerushalayim were illuminated. The Gemara says they could have selected wheat by the light of the Beis HaSheva, but Tosfos says that Maisa they didn't do it. It shouldn't be Me'ilah. The Chasid Manche Maisa says the Gemara divides those who never did sins, and they said Ashrei Al Dusenu, and those who did Shuba, they said Ashrei Ziknusenu, and Masha Mishlachata Mishlachata Yashav Yimchalo. Rashi says this is the Shias V'Sishpochos. They thanked Hashem for their Shuba or for their original Chasidus. Then it says Zil Hazakin used to say certain things. One thing he said was, if I'm here, everything's here. If I'm not here, nothing's here. And to the place that I want to go, my feet take me. And if you come to my house, I'll come to your house. If you don't come to my house, I'll come to your house. And also the Gemara throws in about Hilda used to, when he saw that the skull, he said it happened to you because you did it to somebody else, and it can happen to them also. Rabbi Yochanan says that if wherever a person is supposed to be taken, his feet are going to, the feet will bring him over there. The story of Elichoref and Achia, that Shlomo Melech wanted to save him from the Melech HaMaves, but the Maaseh he sent him exactly where he needed to be, and that was by the Shar HaLuz, and Shlomo Melech learned out that a person's feet are going to take him where he's supposed to be. Rav Shimon Gamliel, when he was by the Silver Space of Sheva, he would juggle 8 torches, and also other things he did, says that he did Kida by putting his thumbs on the ground and bowing down without touching the floor with his body, and nobody else could do that. It was very hard. That's called Kida. Levi did that, then he became lame because he had spoken sharply towards Hashem, so this is when he was punished. Levi also juggled with 8 knives in front of Rebbe, Shmuel in front of Shmuel with 8 cups of wine, Abaya in front of Rabbah with 8 or 4 eggs. Shmuel Chanan, you said we didn't sleep at Simchas Beis HaSheva because we're busy from the day to night and the whole night to Simchas Beis HaSheva. The Gemara says you can't go without sleep for 3 days. So the Gemara says they did Dremel off, but they didn't go to sleep. 15 steps. What were the 15 steps all about? So the Gemara comes out that it was not the 15 steps is connected to 15 Shamalos. What's the Shamalos? 15. So just to point out after the Gemara's explanation, it does have to do with the water. A little bit. It's interesting that it had to do with the water. The home coming up. The Gemara says Shamalos was because when David was digging out the Shittim, so he hit it to home and then it was overflowing, and he Achitophel told him after he forced Achitophel into it. So Achitophel said you're allowed to, the same way that you're allowed to raise Hashem's name to save a marriage. So you're allowed to surely save the world with raising Hashem's name. He wrote the name of Hashem on a cheres and I put it into the tomb, and it went down, but it went down 16,000 amos below the ground level, and that was too low. So he said 15 shamalos to bring it up, just to point out that the shamalos has something to do with bringing up the water. And it's very nice on Sukkot, Sukkot Beis HaSheva, Yeshua. So it has also to do with bringing up the water from the tomb. So and then right now it's 1,000 amos below the ground level, even though you could dig water much less than that. That's from the swim of the cross. As far as the 10th step, it doesn't say clear if it means a 10th step down or a 10th step up, but it was a division of 10 and 5. Over the end of the Chov Ma'is Rishon, they defecated towards the Heichal, and we turn around towards the Beis Mikdash and say Anu Laka, and Rav Yehuda says Anu Laka Lakai Nein. You're not allowed to repeat it. That's like Modim Shema Shema. So they would mean Einenu Laka Miyachlos, that we're bowing to Hashem, but our eyes are longing for Hashem. The Mishnah says, but the Kiyos in the Beis Mikdash, a minimum 21, maximum 48. Every day was 3, 9, and 9. 3 by Psich Hasham, and then for each Talmud, by the Shia, they divided into 3, Kiyah through it, 3 times, altogether 21. By Sukkot, you had another 12, because you had also for the top of the Ezras Nashim, the bottom, and what else do we have? Mili Amayim, which Rashi says means Shamayim, and also by the Mizbeach, which Rashi says means the Skipper Arava. The Mishnah leaves out those of the 10th step, and the Gemara is not talk about that. Yashikov.
Rebbe,
Yes,
Okay,
please.
one
Rebbe.
second.
Thank you.
Excuse me, 1 second,
There's
Emmanuel. Hello.
An announcement.
Wednesday is going to be a siyum for Sukkah. Okay, we're not asking the wives to make anything. We're going to buy everything. Anybody that wants to come, please let me know. I should order for how many people, but let me know by Tuesday if you're coming. And everybody that comes should just give a donation so we can pay for it. It's going to be over here. We're going to daven mincha Wednesday on 1:15 and 1:30 in Hashem. We're going to have to see him. Okay.
Yashikov.
So let me know if you come.
And whoever's not coming is invited on
Exactly.
Zoom. We'll have it on Zoom. Everyone could speak
Okay.
from the Zoom. Yashikov.
okay, so there's a Tosfos Ri Sarfati brought in Yankov that asks a Bam Kasha on Rashi about Hillel, the Maisa Hillel, based on the fact that Hillel starts by saying, Rashi says, speaking in the name of Hashem. And the Ri Sarfati from Tosfos says, can't be, because the smichos is that right after, he says, wherever my feet want to go, they take me. And then we go into a whole ishtalshus to bar him on that. Says, how could Hillel be talking in the name of Hashem when he then says, wherever my feet go, they want to take me? So his pshat is, he says, based on the pasuk, Zahayom Negila v'nismach boy, that there's a pliya going on. The pliya is that the malachim and other people are saying, like, who are you, Ben Adam? You think Hashem wants to rejoice with you? And Hillel's replying, yes, Hashem only wants to rejoice with Ben Adam because Ani Khan Kulo Khan, the only Bria that has everything in it in terms of the Ilamos of Ditzak and in terms of the ability of Bechira. And he goes through the whole list. I'm not going to go through it now, but all the different things man can do, Hashem can only rejoice with man and not with the angels and not with anybody else. So the pshat is, Imani Khan, Hillel is speaking for mankind, not for the Shekhinah. And he's saying, yes, it has to be mankind, because that's the only way we can have Imani Khan, Akal Khan, all the worlds, everything Hashem made. And therefore we can have Zahayom Negila v'nismach haboy.
Yashikov. Thank you. Taisa brings some over here. The Yerushalmi Mashma Shayom Al Atzmo, because the more asked the kasha for the kilusa Hutzarich, does he need the Shavach? And he says he's talking about Am Yisrael, not about himself personally, but connected Israel Yomer. The Chavav we love kilusa Shal Yisrael Menako. Similar to what you're saying, Tosis over here also says.
This is brought down in Likutim B'Shem Goin Yankov, but Goin Yankov brings it from Hariyat Sarfati B'Tosvos Hamasen.
But he does continue that afterwards when it says Matataval B'si Hashem is speaking. So Matataval B'si Hashem is speaking. So he does have difficulty that over there. You must say that Hashem is speaking by the last name. Okay, Yashikov.
Raya for the simplest of all this Torah about the simple of the tzaddikim. Shemama. The chain tzaddikim here is to prove Yishai Miyalozu, the Hasidim Berina Yahiv.
What are you proving?
I'm proving that that's the reason why the Gemara gets so involved with the simplest of the great Anshe Mamad, the great tzaddikim of the generation. But they're ones who can reach Yalozu for Sidi Samchu.
It says the Chassid Manchemai, those are the ones who were dancing, not the other
They
people.
received that in the very good. You don't say by the regular people.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be there. That's what he said in the Torah.
They were watching. Everyone else was watching, but Chassid Manchemai, those are the ones who were dancing and saying the Divrei Shir Shvachos. Yashikar, everybody will be back in a couple of minutes for Pirkei Avos. Maybe later on we might do Hilchos Shmita, but today we'll still continue with Pirkei Avos. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Shalom, welcome. Welcome, everybody. I didn't stop